Welcome to another oil painting video. Today we are going to be painting an oil painting which we will title Portrait of a Woman in Sunlight. This is, as usual, a cotton canvas panel, and this time we have prepared it with a already dry neutral gray acrylic paint. So this is already dry. However, we will use the wet on wet approach again as usual. So I'm gonna dip the brush in safflower oil. It's a safflower oil mix with spike lavender. There is already some paint on the brush as I keep my brushes in a container of linseed oil, which I do just to keep the brushes from drying out overnight. So let's add a little bit more paint. And this much is about good. And this is for the wet on wet painting technique, so that the paint flows nicely. That's about good. Okay. Hi Celeste. Hi Tech Snail. Oh, I'm glad you like these streams. Thank you, thank you. This is, I think, the 7th one in this series. Brand new series of painting videos. Alright, now we've got the surface ready for drawing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw with white, something a little different here. So the top of the head is going to fit somewhere about there. Again, this is portrait of a model in, portrait of a woman in sunlight. So let's say the shoulders are going to fall somewhere over there, the arms over here. So this is a spring themed painting. So she will be holding some flowers. Okay, so this is our block in for where the model is going to fit on the canvas. And my landmark is going to be about, I want to say the elbows, right about there. So now that I've got an idea of where that's going to fit, let's go ahead and place a mark here. And let's just draw this elbow out. This is going to be kind of odd, but bear with me here. I'm trying to establish where exactly I want this elbow to fit. This elbow is going to be the pivotal point of the composition. That point right there, as I just drew an arrow at it. And the brush that we use to tone, we can use to erase if we want to. So I'm going to push that elbow about here. So that's where I'm pushing the elbow. And another quick check. I think I'm going to drop the elbow maybe to there. So I can raise the elbow or I can drop it, but I don't want to move it too far left or right. So that's going to be important for the composition. Hey Jorge, welcome. This is important to the composition here. Forget about composition. Forget about proportion. Forget about everything other than placement. This is the placement part. And it's most important to the composition for me, for this painting. I always have an idea in mind before starting one of these. So that is a very important spot. Now the shoulder for the model is going to land about right here, somewhere over here. Back side of the head, again about here. Top of the head is going to be somewhere about there. Now the other elbow is a little bit higher relative to the vertical axis, somewhere about there. And again, I could easily just be making this up, so don't worry about a reference, don't worry about a picture anywhere. We're looking at shapes. Forget about a photograph for a second here. Now the distance from the elbow to the wrist is right there. From the shoulder to the elbow is here. This elbow, or this radius ulna, is of course going to be slightly shorter than from here to here. So this gives me the hand. The hand is going to be very important because the hands will be holding a flower. And I could move the head around. I actually don't care about the head that much, which is weird because usually, representational painters will focus more with the head, but I don't care too much about the placement of the head. Okay, there's the hand. There's the other hand there. This cuts down to here. Okay, that's about good. So we spent a little extra time placing that. Now the model's wearing a dress, a white dress. So now the sleeve of the white dress, some little decor for the dress, the edge of the hair. The neck may or may not fit somewhere over there. Shoulder here. And that's our placement. There's a little bit more distance here than here. So that's where we wanted to, or that's where I wanted to place the model. And that's the edge of the dress. Now we just push the elbow in here a little bit, and that's good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and draw the head. Let's go ahead and draw the head. Alright, so sternocleidomastoid, little angle right here for the neck muscle, clavicle, jaw. I'm looking at these angles here. Corner for the top of the head, somewhere about there. Top of the head there. Top of the head to the bottom of the chin. This distance is roughly the distance to the chest. If the chest is here, drop our shape down pretty good. Hairline. So the position of the head will be pretty much just not tip turn or tilted, but just in profile. Eye, nose, forehead, mouth will fit somewhere there. Okay, that's about good. The jaw and all these little adjustments can be done with paint, but now we've got the big placement here. Now we're ready to get to painting. Hey Celeste, I don't know what's going on with the super chat. Thank you for wanting to send a super chat. It could be the stream. Maybe it could be just something to do with the YouTube page. It might fix itself, or might have to refresh it, is my guess. I don't know, but I really appreciate that, Celeste. Now we're gonna put some light, just like we did with the still life. I really appreciate that, Celeste. So here we go, just like we did with the still life. So, in case anyone saw what we did yesterday, today's painting is actually going to be combining what we did on Monday and on Tuesday. On Monday, we painted a portrait, head down to the hands, with just a simple lighting scenario, and then we painted a still life on Tuesday. Look, it looks like she's going Super Saiyan. Her hair is starting to glow over here. So on Tuesday, we painted a still life in the sunlight. Today, we will be painting a model in the sunlight. Portrait of a woman in sunlight. A little bit of the yellow in here. Oh, and this one's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Stay tuned for this one. This is going to be lots of fun. Alright, so make sure this checks out. And it does. This obviously this isn't the 80s, so we're not going to have the top of the head be that tall. Oh, thank you so much, Celeste, for the super chat. I'm so glad that it was working for you. So thank you for the super chat, Celeste. Here we've got the lights. And there's going to be trees right behind. But let's put in the dark for the hair first. Mixing right on the spot. No fear. A little bit of dark there. Top of the head. We're changing brushes quite rapidly. Light on the shoulder. Light over here. Of course, again, the hands are going to fit over there. That's a very important position. Really appreciate this super chat. Light on the chest, which of course is the alla prima technique, so it will change values depending on how much pressure you put. Of course, I overdid that. Whoops. New problem. Again, more light for the dress. Light down here, just like we did with the outdoor still life. So we will have the glow, that glow of sunlight, and the sophistication of a figure drawing, figure painting that is figurative painting. And portrait painting, along with some still life elements. Oh, and the landscape. That's right. All these elements all at once. It's taken me nearly 20 years of painting experience to get to this point. So now we're able to just kind of have fun. I'm going to be switching brushes a lot. You'll notice me switch brushes without telling you, but most of the time when I switch from one plane to another, like I just did there, it's because I switched brushes. Okay, so the landscape starting to take form. The background's taking form there. Don't worry about the nose, just push it right into the nose. Off with the nose. That's something I used to say back in the day. Okay, taking form. One plane at a time. Now we can start to put in some light for the face. Start with the shadow. Shadow planes. Right about there. Maybe a little bit warmer, darker. Something about like that. Yep. Yep. Something like that. Warm and dark. And of course that gray tone helps out tremendously. Elbow. Don't drop the elbow, pool players. In case anybody knows what that means, and I'm sure you probably don't. But anyway, I placed the dark shape for the elbow. Hey Grace, welcome. Alright, placement for the neck, chest, shadow shapes for the hands. That's where she's going to be holding a flower, somewhere over there. Shadow for the bottom of the chin. Okay. Alright, so now some more darks for the eye socket and the nose, so we can paint into that. Just like that. Eye socket and nose. And when we get into specificity, we'll change into the close camera angle. We'll change to this one, but obviously right here, it looks like a monster. So we'll keep it at this view for a little bit. There you go. Now the light is starting to emerge. The light is very important right now, so let's forget about the face for a little bit and now go back to the major light effect. Some more glow right here. And if I sound really happy today, I really am happy to do this. This is one of my bucket list paintings. And what it means is I've had so many years of experience painting portraits. I've had so many years of experience painting color, still life, outdoor still life, and things like that. I've always wanted to combine them. So I head down the hands, and I've done it before, right? But I want to be able to do this on camera and show you how fun it is and how much nice effects you can get from this. Color with the palette knife. Thanks, Celeste. I'll try it. Some more color back here. Okay, so now you see the color and the light. And why is it that I always need an orange and I'm too lazy to get a cadmium orange? Let's go ahead and mix a cadmium orange looking color like now. And we're gonna put this cadmium orange looking color while the center of the mixing space is still fresh, right here. Voila, cadmium orange. before things get too messy in there, because that's going to be important to place. Come on, palette knife, you can do it. There we go. That's going to be important to place right there and here. Those are going to be really important colors to place. Okay. Now, the fun stuff, at least it's all fun, but the stuff that's even more fun, painting a face. So I'm going to organize my brushes now. I don't want to have all big brushes right now, so I'm going to put the big brushes off to the side. Apologize, I don't have another camera to show you that, but put them off to the side. I'll even get my sables out. So 3 sables. So now we're moving the brushes around. So I've got my sables and I've got my bristles, size 2 filbert bristles. Paper towel in hand and another piece of paper towel right next to my safflower oil spike lavender mix. Okay, so now that we have the darks, let's go ahead and mix some skin tone using that orange and just using this entire top space of the palette. See how smooth the paint glides around the palette. This is the really nice thing about having a wooden palette that you use every day and hopefully clean every day. It just gets nicer and nicer. So this will be our little makeshift skin tone. Let's see how it goes, how it does. That's pretty good. Now we're gonna draw with this color. Corner of the forehead. And let's get another brush for the top of the head. Right there. So we continue to draw and add shapes from changing brushes. Oh yeah, disposable palettes are good too. There's really something special about a wooden palette that you use for years and years. And I've got one that I've used for the majority of my big studio paintings. I had a palette for about 15 years, a wooden palette, but it got lost in the move from the previous place to this one. Just kind of stinks, but it is what it is. The palettes are like their own kind of little treasure. Light on the hair. Okay, now we have planes for the hair. Back side of the head fits about there. Now we'll angle this. Did I get the wrong brush? I think I did. Okay, now let's go back to that skin tone brush. Hey Gigi. Light for the cheekbone area. Where the eye socket's eventually going to fit. Throw in a little bit of red. cheekbone. Light underneath of the nose. Plain underneath of the tear duct. Light for the cheekbone. Checking this proportion yet again. That's good. Now it's going to start to be in the human realm, not the demon realm. Thanks, Gigi. Again, angle for the hair. These little angles are really important. And there's going to be more of an orangey hue back here for the hair. Light for the neck. Clavicle. Gonna have some warmth to it. Hair. Dark for the hair. The hair is gonna cover about that much of the side of the face. Looking at the big picture. Put a shape there that'll make it easier to draw with. Shapes for the hair. Clavicle. Okay. A little bit more light for the neck. Just going to be right there. It's going to have some blue to it. That's a different note of color. Hey, Markel. A little hint of blue. The clavicle. Okay, now the light for the hand. The right hand here. That's the light for the right hand. Side plane. See how useful this Alla Prima wet on wet approach is. A little bit more light for the wrist. Now we're going to paint in that arm. Wrist bone. A little bit of orange. There will be some orange reflection underneath, especially down here. Orange reflection, which will help with the light. Hey, Lady Death. Hi, Lottie. Orange reflection back here. that all-important arm. Extremely important for the composition, as it is the anchor point of the composition. Very good, very good. Now we can push the light and we'll change up the hues a little bit as we go. Hint of blue back there, as we have a backlit view. There will be some light up there. Oh, Mark L, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Did I miss a super chat? Celeste, oh, thank you for the super chat. It said a third super, I'm not sure. I'm confused. But anyway, Mark L, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support, everybody. It really helps me out in so many ways. I don't know how this is cropped there, but let's see if I can fix that while we're here. I really appreciate the super chat, Mark L. Let me figure out. This is going to be important for me to fix if I can. Let's change the left. You need to see more of the left. Okay. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hey Hamid, maybe paint. You wrote making it look so easy to paint, but when I grab a brush, it starts. Oh no, trust me. Ooh, trust me. Hamid, trust me. I know what it feels like to do something. Try so much, and we're gonna put some light for the fingers, and it's so difficult. But the main thing to take out of this is it's all possible with drawing, and then color, and then in combination, all of it in combination with shapes. Just thinking about shapes. And it's not even like an anatomy thing. Like, of course, there's fingers pointing in the shadow here, but a lot of it is being able to visualize. So visualize what it is that you're trying to paint, like the shapes for the fingers that I'm painting there. She will be holding a flower, but visualization and freedom, gaining freedom in the way that you work through drawing practice, color study, all these things, like it, and in combination, I myself am still learning every day, and I want to continue learning every day. But for me, the biggest thing right now is the material. I put that tone on in the beginning, and that's not something I used to do. I used to tone with just mineral spirits, and I think that was what I did for the first two streams. I just toned it with just mineral spirits in the beginning, and this is just so much more efficient to move the paint around. So through experimentation, I myself continue to learn, and yeah, practice for sure. And of course, I forgot to text my mother-in-law. My side job is to walk her dog. Okay, just text her. Ay. Multiple things at once. Eventually, I want to give up that side job, but anyway. So, a little bit of light on the cheekbone. And now that we have the shapes starting to develop, now we can start to put in more specificity surrounding the face. Yeah, Lucy enjoyed her birthday yesterday. I did buy her a cake that had sprinkles similar to that. Well, thank you for remembering that. Yeah, she was happy that I painted the cupcake. Yeah, Gigi, definitely a vision. Yes, I'm gonna just trust the process. Yes, you should trust the process, but also I just want you to always keep in mind that the more you practice working with shapes, the more you'll be able to visualize pictures better. And I don't mean pictures in the sense of, like a photograph, but the more you work with shapes, and the more you practice visualization with shapes, the better you will be. And it's all a process. It takes time, but it's possible. I believe anyone can do it. It just takes a very concentrated study. It's an everyday thing, even if it's only 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. And the good thing about this is, unlike other things in life, like playing pool or playing tennis or playing golf or something like that, you can learn this in the comfort of your own home without having to spend a lot of time traveling or having to use up a lot of space. You don't have to use up a lot of space to do this. Okay. Now it's all about working with shapes. And I usually will put the white of the eye, the sclera, in the beginning and then blur it out. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm putting the sclera there in the beginning, and then I'm going to blur it. To just kind of help me reason with the shapes. So you're not really thinking too much about proportion in the sense of, measuring a distance, one distance from another. You just feel out the placement of things. And when you're working in the alla prima method, if something lands in the wrong spot, you can easily push it. And using this tone helps with that process. Yeah, I mean, really the best thing about this is the fact that you don't need a lot of space to do it. There's so much information available now online, but the best thing I can tell you is to think about working with shapes and do self-portraits. A lot of times you'll see me do these paintings, but what goes on behind the scenes in my own mind is I'm making stuff up that I know should be here from my experience of painting from life. This is a 9x12 canvas. Oh my goodness, I forgot. I needed to go to the store today. I think I'm down to my last canvas. So I need to go buy some more. I am down to my last canvas. Thanks for reminding me. Oh, thanks, Celeste. The self-portraits are really the best, like, because you get to work from life. At your own pace. You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, the model fee and all that stuff. Yeah, I did add the oil to the surface first. Safflower oil and spike lavender. But again, it's mostly safflower oil. Someone I think about a lot when I paint stuff like this is John William Waterhouse. Oh, trust me, I can't stand looking at the mirror most of the time. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. And just like I said before, this orange is going to be a thing. It's going to be important for the light effect. I'm pushing the light, color of the light in relation to color of the shadow, just like we did with the still life. Pushing different notes, color notes. We're going to use a blue-green on the forehead. Really pushing that color. Black and phthalo blue will create an ultramarine type color. Painting, let's see, on paper, yeah, you can, but you want to make sure to prepare it. If you buy Arches paper, I think cold, like the watercolor paper, you can buy the cold press. 140 pound or 300 pound. I'd probably get the 300 pound. And you can gesso it. Or they sell paper for oil painting already prepared. That might be better than having to go through all that stuff. Cast shadow. A little more light on the arm now. Now it's important to have experience with figure drawing and figure painting from life. There really isn't a way around that. And unfortunately, it is kind of difficult to find a group where you can do that. I was pretty fortunate that I had those resources when I was young. But I'm showing you the process here, so I'm making it so that you don't necessarily need it, but it would be kind of highly recommended. Yes, with I like Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso as my gesso of choice. I actually have it right here. Forget about these stickers, they're old, but Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso. That's what I like to use to prepare surfaces. Just like those little paintings that you saw for the Breaktime, or that you will be seeing for Breaktime. I gesso just scraps of wood with that. And that's how I do those little studies. Do I use a particular brand of safflower oil? Yeah, yes. Not for any reason, it's just what was in the store. I just have Gamblin safflower oil. Is it refined? I don't know. I think so. I'm not sure. It says oily rags may spontaneously combust. That's reassuring. However, what I do is when I'm done painting for the day, I put them in Ziploc bags, or this is about 3 days worth of paint rags. Ziploc bags, cut off the oxygen, and yeah. But yeah, Gamblin. Oh, thanks, Lottie. I'm glad you like the dynamic hands. Yeah, it's just the beginning of it all. But yeah, I'm much happier these days doing this than I was, trying to become a pool player when I first moved into this area. And I should be careful because some of the people from my academy can watch these videos sometimes, but like spending, it felt like thousands of hours of practice trying to learn how to just shoot a straight shot. It's really tough to learn in a short period of time, and even when you finally do it, right? This is the thing about a sport versus something like this, which this is more like, this is not a sport, but this is a, let's just call it a craft, not in a negative way, but like, it's like playing a musical instrument. It's like that muscle memory is there, but it's not like something so physical that you need to do it every single day, or else you lose the touch for it. You know what I mean? Like, you won't lose the touch for it. But like with a sport, you'll lose the touch for it if you don't do it every day. If you play a sport at a high level, then you'll know that if you take even a week off, it's not like riding a bike. It really isn't. It's like all of a sudden you just have to relearn everything somewhat again. Painting is not like that. It's not. And it's because things happen at a very slow pace and it takes more patience. Shadow for the hair. Gonna have some hints of blue. Thanks, Celeste. A lot of you in Europe. Okay, so I guess that means there are a lot of figure painting over there, I think. figure painting, figure drawing. I mean, it's stuff I can't show on YouTube, but if anyone goes on my Instagram, you'll see all the years of experience that I had with that. And I knew even back then that, you know, this kind of alla prima type start was better than super careful. At least for me, it was better than a super careful drawing that was transferred over, and that's great to start with. In fact, that's what I use for Patreon, but over time you kind of learn to paint with draw with the paint. You learn not to fight it. Now more for the dress. We're going to illuminate this area a little bit more. Cycling is form of sit it in, not sit it up. You said you noticed the quality of your figure drawing deteriorated when you took a break for a few weeks. It is something that, yeah, you're right, they need to practice. I guess maybe it's because I have all these years of experience with this that I feel that way, and I don't have all those years of experience with something like playing pool. So perhaps that's why I feel that way. I'm always open to being wrong about something. So I could be wrong. Maybe this is something that you have to practice every single day. Perhaps. Now we're going to start to develop the form and the dress. Started off kind of dark. Always individual. Yeah, I can see that. Some more structure for the dress. Anywhere there's a line, it will turn into a plane like that. More orange for the arm. And this is a really nice moment in the painting here. Thanks, Lottie. Alright, let's do that painterly thing where we do that, where we paint into the arm so that we can get a nice edge. Let's use the orange. This is a very painterly-like thing. This is, like I said, one of the nicest moments in the painting. Now let's zoom you into that moment. Right there. Such a fun moment in the painting. And the more you paint, the more you'll realize that a composition is more than just the head and shoulders. It really is the whole picture. But there are moments in the picture that really kind of sing, and this is one of them. So it's important to spend time with it. Like I said, there's kind of a warmish color there. And we're getting rid of lines. Back to the orangey. Now, as I show you this is something that in the past, even last year, would have taken me twice as long to get to this point with the color and the form. And we're only just starting this series, everybody. This is only the eighth one in this series. So we're gonna keep pushing. Now currently, I don't have a big following on YouTube anymore. I did in the start, but now I don't. But what I have now, I think is even better. I have all of you very dedicated painters that are following along with me. You know, people that are interested in the stories essentially that I'm portraying in these paintings. You know, that to me is more important than back when I had a lot more viewers, but everybody was like, well, teach me how to paint the head already, or teach me how to paint that arm. Like, this is showing you a story here. Something beyond just the tutorial. Now the lights on the arm. And there's going to be a hint of green right there. Why? I don't know. I just kind of feel like it should be there. A little bit of light. And these are things that you can't really put your finger on why it's there. You just know that it's there. Now more yellow and orange. Oh, yeah, when I was young, my parents, or my mom, she was very supportive when I was like in middle school or whatever. But later on, when I was in high school, my mom like was not as supportive. No, but more than anything, my mom wanted me to be happy, and she saw how hard I was working, to learn how to paint, and changed her mind. She really supported me. With good reason, she wasn't too happy about it in the beginning. She was just worried about me. But it really does take a lot of time, a lot of energy to learn these things. But when you have a supportive environment like I did, it makes a huge difference. Especially to anyone that's watching this that is gonna think about going into an art career. You just end up working 10 times harder than everyone else. And everyone still thinks you're lazy. That's kind of the stigma that artists get. Yeah, definitely. She supported me in the sense that she helped me pay for school. I mean, I had a scholarship to go to school, but still, like didn't cover everything. So she did help me with that. So if you're watching, Mom, thank you. I know she does watch these videos once in a while. Yeah, and people think it's relaxing or therapeutic, but it's most of the time it's not for us creators. Most of the time it's the opposite of therapeutic, especially when you're really frustrated with the way that a painting is turning out. Most of the time you need a therapy from the art. This nice little moment in the painting. Yeah, the painting white in sunlight is really, really fun to do. It's the most difficult thing you can do in terms of color painting, but it's very rewarding. You said you remember in art school someone wanted to quit and go to law school because it was easier. Wow. Law school. Now that one. Oh no, I can't imagine that one. Shout out to all you lawyers out there. That is really something. But yeah, it is very difficult. And the most difficult thing about art is that people don't recognize it as difficult. They just think of the term starving artist, or they think about you're just lazy or you don't work. But yeah, well, we break those stigmas every day. More light for the dress. Like I said, most magical area in the painting is kind of right here. And of course, we've got all the time in the world to spend on the face. Oddly enough, I'm going to tell you, the face is the easy part. The face is the easy part. The environment is the difficult part. The drapery, the color of the light and the shadow is the difficult part. Hansel dog, it's been a while. How you doing? You have to be creative with words. Oh, you mean like a lawyer? Perhaps. I don't know. Yo no sé. More light. Okay, so you can see the bottom of what I'm doing here. The light is a really huge thing here. Like I said, portrait of a woman in sunlight. Doesn't get any more difficult than this. It really doesn't. Now we're going to put some structure for the arm. Always be careful for the drumstick. If it's too perfectly curved, it can look like a drumstick, which of course it does right now. Claudia wrote, a friendship may seem to have no patience, painting quick after time. After time, don't see the colors very good. You always got something more that you can do in your painting. There's always something more we can do, no matter what stage we're in life. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Hansel Dog. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Hansel Dog, for the super chat. That really means so much to me, everybody. And I was just thinking, right when I saw that, I was thinking of a quote that Bob Ross said, in life, or in painting, we have absolute control. In life, we have control over nothing more. He said in life he has nothing more to control, nothing in his control other than taking out the garbage. And I just took out the garbage earlier today, and I was thinking the same thing. But thank you so much, Hansel Dog. That makes me feel like, what I'm doing will amount to something. And it's a very, it's a very profound feeling when people care about what I'm doing. People can see what I'm doing and care beyond just the tutorial. Like, I'm trying to share moments here in the painting with you. So thank you so much for the super chat. It really helps. Okay, that's the magical area that I was talking about. Now we can work on the face for a little bit. Oh my goodness, it's already been an hour and 11 minutes. How did that happen? Oh, thanks, Hansel Dog. That's actually what I'm trying to do. I'm painting a new painting Monday through Friday, so each day, so 5 paintings a week, with exceptions. Like, if I have to go to the doctor's, which, by the way, everybody, I think I have to go to the doctor on Friday. I have a problem with my feet, so Friday might be kind of short, or it might be at a different time. So heads up for Friday. It might be short, or it might be at a different time. But yeah, Monday through Friday, unless I got a doctor's appointment or something big comes up, But I'm so glad you appreciate the paintings. I'm going to add a little bit more light to the sky, and then we are going to take a break. But when we take a break, I will play an acrylic painting video for you, or the oil painting one, whichever you want, but I think the acrylic one for now. Oh, my chat got disconnected somehow. Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, I've got problems with my feet. So I'm gonna go to the doctor on Friday. A little bit more light up top. Here in college, everybody thought art students had it easier, but not only did we have to keep up with the liberal arts, we had to be up all night doing paintings, drinking coffee, all that. Yeah, I remember that. Definitely remember. Okay, so a little bit more light in the background. And now I will play that acrylic painting video for you. It is a 7-minute acrylic painting video for anyone that hasn't seen it before. Hopefully you will enjoy, and we will be right back. Welcome to 7 minutes acrylic eye with color. This is a time lapse. So the video has been sped up so that you can watch it within a approximately 7-minute time range. What you're seeing here is a black and white underpainting. Again, with acrylic paint, we're painting wet onto dry. However, the acrylic paint allows itself to work wet into wet within the time interval of about, I would say, 2 to 5 minutes until it's completely dry. So as you can see here, in contrast to the technique we use in oil paint, this is very much wet onto dry. I really recommend doing these studies of eyes because it helps you not only work with some anatomy, but also different structures, such as the curvature of the eye. As you can see, there is like a sphere. It has a highlight, it has light and shadow, and it has middle tones. Now you see how we're putting in planes onto the eye socket. Now this is a very, very fast-paced video, but we have done a similar one to this in oil paint, minus the color, in real time. I just want to show that you can create these gradations with acrylic, and we have several live streams and pre-recorded videos already done on the YouTube channel that shows acrylic. This is an excellent study to do when you're trying to work on your values, and then eventually it will transition into color. Remember, if you do decide to recreate any one of the paintings done on the channel, including these fast-paced studies, please post it to your social medias with the hashtag #UpariArtist. Now we're putting in values surrounding the eyes. There's a side plane underneath of the tear duct of the eye. And now we've covered the entire surface, pretty much like a cast drawing or a cast painting. And it dries within about 5 minutes or so. Now we're pushing the darks. One thing to notice is that acrylic does dry a little bit darker in the lights, but then the darks themselves will actually fade slightly. Now that transition was done wet onto wet, which means you have to mix that value within about a 2 to 5 minute time range. Now we're pushing the darks even further. And now we're starting to add some hints of color. A little bit of brown. And now we're putting in some skin tone. And the mixtures are done on a dry palette, so I'm mixing each color as I go, and then I'm adding it directly onto the surface. Wet onto dry. Again, to show you that these types of paintings can be done with acrylic paint as well. A little bit of a warmer gray for the sclera, the white of the eye. Just like we did with the underpainting, but it's much easier to add color when you have an underlayer that has careful drawing in light and shadow. Now you see we're filling in some of the mid-tones on the upper eyelid. A little bit of a yellowish color on the side plane of the eye socket. And now we're putting more of a reddish color, kind of exaggerating color a little bit. Which you're totally allowed to do, by the way, with a quick study of an eye. Real time, this video was approximately almost an hour long. So an hour condensed into about 7 minutes. A little more than 7 minutes. Now we're rounding out the eyebrow. Notice how the eyebrows are not painted on. They're literally painted on, but they're not meant to look painted on. They have soft edges, light and shadow. Now you may have seen there that the paint in the light did dry a little bit darker, but the more layers you add, the less that effect will be, let's just say, it won't be interrupting the process. The more and more layers you add, the truer the values are going to look. The values will look more accurate. Here's last minute little color changes. A little bit of blue for the highlight on the eye. Just little last minute color adjustments on this. More light on the eyebrow. So once again, this was accelerated, but we do have a monochrome oil painting eye that was done in about 5 to 7 minutes. Of course, acrylic takes a little bit longer, but this was a fun little break time video for you to show that this can also be done with acrylic. Alrighty then, hopefully you enjoyed that little quick acrylic painting video. Let's go ahead and get into some subtleties now with the face. Oh, thanks, Grace. A little bit of orange. Bottom of the nose. And we will add specificity, but before we get into too much, actually, let's double check this measurement. And I think it should be about good, but from here to here, top of the head, bottom of the head. Okay, that equals out towards the chest. Like I said, I don't like to do that kind of measurement too much, but that's kind of an important one that is yeah, something that needs to be done. So now we'll zoom into the face. Let's spend some time here. Let me move the image so you can see the palette. So let's let this be light, and let's let this be dark. There's my darkest area. And we'll let this be the middle. And everything in between. So we'll have light, middle, and dark. So here we go with the light. Light for the corner of the nose. You'll actually be seeing some of the other eye right across. So we'll stick with maybe this value range. The other brush will be the dark brush. Thanks, Markel. Oh, there's a lot left to do on this face. I will eventually switch to my watercolor brushes. Eventually. I will need smaller brushes. Oh, I was just talking about the watercolor, which I'm still doing, by the way, but off camera. You know, just like kind of like Sargent. He did watercolor kind of for fun, like for traveling purposes. That's what I'm gonna be doing. Which, by the way, I do want to go on some more expeditions. I actually did go on a plein air expedition a couple weeks ago. So if it happens to be the... Yeah, I gotta double check my schedule for the doctor's appointment, because it was already scheduled ahead of time 3 weeks ago. Oh, you're gonna get a kick out this one. I don't know what my password is. I locked myself out. But anyway, yeah, that's why I'm not sure exactly what time. But the weather's gonna be really nice tomorrow, so I may do some plein air paintings then. But I'll let you know. Yes, pastels will definitely help with your oil painting for sure. Now we'll switch into the watercolor brushes. Once I can find the right brush. There we go. It's a really skinny brush. A skinny nothing brush. That's what I call it. I'm thinking a lot about Vermeer with these little paintings. Oh, cool. Yeah, I wish I could do that. Although in this area, I'm sure I can set up a meetup for some plein airs. But these days, I kind of like that lone wolf life. If I do go plein air painting tomorrow, it'll definitely be alone. But I do miss painting with people. Here's where it'll get kind of difficult. Slightly darker over here. Gotta make sure the features don't move. We can add all the detail we want, but we gotta make sure that we don't move the features. Oil ground? Yeah. I have painted on oil primed surfaces a lot. But it's just a little too much of a process for me to paint 5 of those a week. So I'd rather just paint on the already prepared cotton canvases. Sure, that makes sense, Lottie. Once a month there's a big group in London. Cool. Mark, tell him I said hi. Tell them this random guy named Upari in DC says hi. This is a watercolor brush. Oh, compared to acrylic gesso, the oil primed surface is I want to say stickier, but not in a negative way. I'd say it grabs a hold of the paint a little better, so it's more useful for paintings that you're going to work on for multiple layers. But I think it makes it a little more difficult for these paintings where you're trying to work wet on wet through the entire process. It can be done, yes, I have done it. But I would still choose cotton for these paintings. They're slick, which is what I want for this process. But for a studio painting, something that you're going to work on for an extended period of time, the cotton is a little better. Not the cotton, excuse me. The linen is a little better. Like I said, we've got all the time in the world for the little face. You know, I've worked on quadruple oil primed linens with extra fine texture, and I'd still rather paint on this cotton canvas for these paintings. Oh, it is far from you. Wow. Oh, yeah, gesso. If you put a lot of gesso, it does absorb more of the oil. Yeah, it does. That's why I like the Liquitex, the professional, but you know, that could absorb a lot of oil also. Some orange. Like I said, that tone, that safflower oil and spike lavender tone helps the paint absorb, or it helps the paint flow. Of course, this is what happens with those cheaper brushes. The hairs are I kind of have to spin the brush around to get a point. Rim light with more yellow. There's going to be more of a bluish light on top, which of course I'm mixing off to the side because it doesn't fit. Actually, I can mix it there. A blue light right on top of the orangey. And that orangey glow orangey glow. Just like we did with the still life. Orangey red. Now we're going to switch back to kind of a neutral greenish turquoise neutral for the eye. Highlight with a tad bit of blue. And of course, there's a little bit of light on the right side. That bluish highlight is also on the upper lip. And the top of the nose, we'll push that highlight kind of greenish. Color relationships, just like the still life, everyone. Anyone that saw the still life, outdoor still life. Now yesterday when I painted the outdoor still life, I did say something about the subject matter that you paint in the sunlight has to be such that you can draw it effortlessly. And portraits, figurative painting, and hands in particular is the most difficult subject. So being able to paint a face, the torso, hands, almost effortlessly is a very difficult thing to do. In order to prioritize color, you need to be able to draw all of these things effortlessly. It is absolutely possible. It's also absolutely difficult, but it can be done. This is the difference between me and someone like Bob Ross. I'm showing you what's possible over time. Bob Ross was showing you what was possible right now. This is possible for everybody over time. I wait overnight for the gesso. When I gesso a canvas with the Liquitex Professional Acrylic Gesso, I wait overnight before I paint on it. If you're going to add another layer of gesso to it, then I would wait about 2 hours. Just to make sure that it's dry. Practice, 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 practice. Absolutely. But it is possible. And yeah, Bob Ross definitely with the trees. But I'm showing you all what's possible over time. But it's the same method though. It's the same kind of method. It's wet onto wet painting. Same method. It's not new to Bob Ross. It's not new to anyone of this century. It's pretty old. Painting wet onto wet. There's a very difficult light on the lip. I'm adding kind of a yellowish touch to it next to the blue. Yellow next to the blue, and now we're going to push the greenish hue. So drawing and all that stuff is secondary to the light effect right now. Values even are secondary to the light. It makes it very difficult. Trust me, very difficult, but very rewarding once you get that right touch. Back to that bluish highlight. No mineral spirits, by the way, not using any. So the paint is very, very thick, even though it looks thin in some areas. It's much thicker than if I had thinned out with mineral spirits. And because the brush isn't even thin enough for these shapes, I have to go over and over till I get the right shape. Like that, till I get the right shape. Franz Hals, yeah, definitely. Very good. And also I think used Ella Prima. So I think he's one of the painters that we know his history. I think he suffered from alcoholism. I think that was Franz Hals. Poor Franz Hals. Yeah, I think he's the one that would paint those really funny bar scenes. A little more yellow. For the side plane, every plane change is a color change. You got to paint the color of the light in relation to the color of the shadow. Again with a hint of blue. This is tough, changing the colors and the shapes on a really small scale. But like I said, we have all the time in the world with the face. Maybe. It's possible, though I do tend to make things up. It could be the red hair that's giving it away, but I do tend to make some things up. So you never know. Now we get to push the light again. Okay, now for the shapes around the face. That's enough for our first little indications of form on the face. Yes, kind of, you're right. You're right. Now the hair. Some little strands of hair. Just planes. A little bit of blue. Now back to the red. Now some shapes for the hair. Remember, hair has plane changes. And again, this is with a cheap watercolor brush. This brush is probably about worth like maybe $1 or $1.50. Cheap brush, but it's working. And now the hair started to take some form. Back to the light on the forehead. We'll push a bluish hue. Now you'll see from a distance, all of a sudden, that a little bit of detail on the face is starting to read. So going back and forth like that helps you see, as if you're looking from my eyes, what it looks like when I sit back or stand back. Now when I do this, it's basically like forcing you to stand back so you could see from my perspective. So I always make these decisions from a distance before I apply these brush strokes. A little bit more of an orangey pink for that plane. Some alizarin-ish color here. Really pushing the limits of what's possible. Okay, so the face is somewhat decent. Now back to let's stay with form a little bit. Let's go to the hands, since she is going to be holding some flowers. So we're going to move on to the hands now. And we'll use this, let's just use the Sables. I know you might be getting bored at this point, but this is the time where we really start to add some planes. Add form with the planes. And this is going to be the plane change for the pinky. Orange for the side plane. Side plane of the pinky. More light top plane of the pinky. Cast shadow. Hey Jonas, cast shadow for the other pinky. Light for where the nails are going to go. Same thing for the other finger. Just going to be over here. Again, I really like painting hands. Hands say a lot about the pose and the perspective. Kind of a bluish light there, so that we can add the orange. That pinky is getting a little long. Trim it to about there. So that the other finger can look longer. There we go. Form for this finger. There we go. Some back and forth-ish stuff, but now we have that plane. She'll move the ring finger a little further to the left. Now you see why I started the hands kind of like a square. So it makes it easier to move the fingers whenever you have to. To right about here. go. The middle finger. And some light for this 1, 2, 3. And this one will be tucked in a little bit because she'll be holding a flower. This is the intersection of where she's holding the flower, right there. He wrote, when you're painting alla prima, is it the pressure of the brush you are laying down the paint important? Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. That's something I don't talk about as much. Absolutely. When you're painting an alla prima, the pressure that you put down on the brush is absolutely important. And that's why I switched to this cheap watercolor brush, because this allows me to put less pressure and I carry less paint. So to those of you that are conscientious about how much you spend on art materials, the brush to the right is no more than $2. The brush to the left is probably now like $20. So it doesn't really matter what brush you use. What matters more is how you use the brush, I guess, the pressure that you put on the brush. Absolutely. A little light on this knuckle. Just like I tend to always do, we're going to add some pink. And I think we're at the point now for the next break. But before we do that, let me make sure the hands are at a decent point. And the next video I'll play will be the oil painting one. We'll paint an eye in 5 to 7 minutes with oil paint using this alla prima technique. I appreciate all the likes, everybody, all the super chats. Really appreciate all the support for this channel. This new series is very difficult. This is the most difficult painting series I've ever done. I'm learning a lot every day with every painting. Yes, definitely. When you have a softer touch, it helps. The softer the touch, kind of, the better for alla prima. You don't want to be shoveling paint around if that's not what you want to do. But there are times where you can apply more pressure, though. Like there's going to be a little pocket of light between the hands, like right here. And even then, I don't want to apply too much pressure. Okay. So I think the hands are pretty much at a good place now. First little indications of form for the hands. Simplify that plane a little bit. First little indications of form. When we return, we'll start to paint in the flowers. Well, you know I don't like when things meet up perfectly, so I'm gonna paint a little gap here. So that this is in front of that. Yep, just like that. Now we are pretty much there, ready for the still life, the flower that she'll be holding. Okay, so that's good. Drawing with color allows us to think in color, allows us to reason with shapes. There. Now we covered that edge. Push that shape a little darker. Okay, good, 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 good. Now we're ready to begin the flower, but of course, before we do that, we shall take a little break. I'll play the oil painting video this time. So stay tuned if you want to learn how to begin using this method, this alla prima method. One of the best beginning exercises is going to be played on your screen right about now. Welcome to what's going on YouTube. Welcome to another break time quick 5 to 7 minute oil painting. This is just a gessoed piece of wood. It was gessoed with acrylic gesso, and now I have added a thin coat of raw umber and black using a mixture of safflower oil and spike lavender. Now we are going to use the alla prima technique to paint a 5 to 7 minute eye. We're going to start off with white. This is going to create a sphere for us. And this is going to be the eye socket area right here. And down here is going to be the corner of the eye. This is the edge of the eye socket, and now we have the entire shape for the eye socket. The tear duct will be about here. Next thing we will do is go and get the dark brush. This is going to be just black and raw umber right here. So this is going to be our tear duct. Black and raw umber. This is going to be the end of the eye, and this is going to be the iris. Very simple iris shape there. And now we're going to put in the bottom plane of the upper eyelid, lower eyelid, and the top of the lower eyelid. Very simple, iconic looking eyeball shape. Next, we are gonna go in with the light back towards the top of the eye, and this will give us the eyebrow right above. Nice and easy. So there's a quick little eyebrow. The tear duct is going to pick up some light, and this creates the tear bag area. And you want to work with a decent amount of paint so that you can apply different value changes, as you're seeing there, just by modifying how much pressure you put on the brush. So this is the tear duct here. See how it gets lighter? Less pressure will make this less light. And now we're gonna have a little bit of light picking up on the top plane of the upper eyelid as it starts to curve around the back side of the eye there. We'll also pick up a little bit of light on the upper eyelid, and we'll also pick up a little bit of light on the top of the eye socket, which is going to create a nice gradation here. And these are just cheap pieces of wood that were gessoed with Liquitex acrylic gesso. They're cheap pieces of wood that are perfect for doing oil painting sketches such as this one. And less pressure is going to make this less bright as we work all the way towards the back side of the eye, finishing the first pass for this eye. Next thing we are going to do is add more light to the top, giving us close to our brightest light. And you can paint this in 5 to 7 minutes at home for practice. Simple practice. Now a little bit of light for the sclera. Remember, the sclera, the white of the eye, is not white, but rather some type of middle value. Now this painting is of course going to be in monochrome, meaning we're not going to add any values. But if you want to add, color, it's going to be in monochrome, which means we're not adding any color. But if you want to add color, you certainly can. But you see how much you can do without any need of color. And see how you can create this little gradation here with just white, black, and umber. And now we're going to add our darkest dark, which is going to be raw umber with a little bit of black for the pupil right there. And depending on the model, there may be some darker eyelashes, so we can add those eyelashes. The dark for the eyelashes here. And it all depends on the model. And we can adjust the eyebrows with the same brush, wet into wet. Depending on if the model has thick eyebrows, soft eyebrows, it's up to you. You can create whatever eyebrows you want. And what I want you to do is, if you can help me out and do this 5 to 7 minute study on Instagram, post it with a hashtag #UpariArtist. And this is the final light Like I said, that's going to be the brightest light. And that is your 5 to 7 minute simple alla prima wet on wet eye. I hope you enjoyed this break time painting video. Alrighty, so let's paint in the flowers. Hopefully you liked that oil painting version of the quick eye study. Of course, that one was in real time. So let's mix up a greenish color. This will be the stem. Of what she'll be holding. Alright, now we'll mix up a brown for the twig. And this is with the same cheap brush. Add a little bit of safflower oil. The safflower oil spike lavender. Now we can paint. A little more solvent, tiny bit darker. Mix it right here, why not? And you'll see what this flower thing is going to be in a second. Now we'll go to that greenish color, which is right off the screen. I'll add it kind of like here, 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 here. That greenish color. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. Now the alizarin. Kind of in this shape. The power of the alla prima technique. And then after this, we'll address the environment again. So white and red. Make a pink. And what kind of flower is small with a whitish pink color that only shows up in the DC area around this time of year? And let's look at it from a distance. Make sure that it doesn't take up too much attention. And it doesn't. Alright, so that's about good. With that, now we'll go back to the environment, starting with the sky. I'll mix directly on here. So Lottie, I'm not sure what the name of that one is. Cherries? Could be. A flower that only shows up around this time of year in DC. For anyone watching this long after the stream happened, this is the time period that this was created is beginning of April, end of March. Let's just say springtime. Hey Celeste, do you like the oil prime linen panels? They are nice. I'm not gonna lie, they are really nice, and I've painted on them a lot. Yep, there you go, Lottie. Cherries. Yes, correct. Correct. It's the cherry blossoms. Those are those iconic little flowers that only show up in this area around this time. Which I think they're actually starting to die already. They're only here for a little bit, then they're gone. They're not naturally from this area. Let's add the yellowish hue. Transparent yellowish hue to the background. Gotta make sure that the shapes aren't too blocky. This adds atmospheric perspective. Yes, the cherry blossoms. Though these aren't fully bloomed, they're little ones that she's holding. Technically, she wasn't supposed to take them off the park, but, you know, I didn't see anything. I wasn't there. I don't know what you're talking about. I never saw her pick any of the flowers. New beginning, spiritual. I can see that. You like a good flow. Oh, thanks, Jonas. I'm glad you like the portrait and the colors. Maybe she found it on the floor. That's right. She didn't pick it up. She found it. You're ordering safflower oil now? Oh, cool. Thank you. Oops. There's another one I didn't put in my description box. But here's a little hint or a little thing you can do if anybody wants to, support the channel. You can also use my Amazon links to buy stuff. You could buy anything actually. Just if you use the link, you click on the link and then you go and buy a lawnmower on Amazon. It'll work. And I know I don't want to support any, avoiding Amazon is kind of a thing. Yes, I can see that. But it's just kind of what we have, what I have, what YouTube is giving us the chance to use. But to be fair, Amazon, suppose you buy a $3,000 refrigerator or something like that, just for example. Amazon will only pay me probably like I don't know, like maybe $30 for that refrigerator. I have no clue actually. All I know is it's really small. So just a tad bit more blue in the sky there. And I don't want to do too much because it will look too strong, but well, we're going to try it anyway. Yes, links in the description. Maybe a hint of green. Just like we did in the still life, we're using the palette knife to push the color far beyond what we can do with a brush. And it also creates nice textures and colors for the hair. This creates a nice glow. Well, that's right, yeah, Patreon helps as well with everything. I got links to Patreon in the description also. That creates a nice sharp edge for that. Again, I'm using broken color, so I'm leaving some of that gray to show through underneath by scattering this paint around. That's the idea of broken color. More yellow for this plane and green. Prints for this painting will be available also. The original will be available in time, but not for a little while. Oil paintings take time to dry, and I want to frame it. Okay, so that's pretty good for that. Now we'll go back to the dress. Same kind of concept, but brighter. Like that. Back in 2020, it would have taken me an entire week's worth of live streams to paint just this face. Just this face with this kind of glowing light. So this is an evolution over time. Oh, thanks, Celeste. I'm trying to make it not gimmicky. I'm trying. I'm trying. Well, thanks, Lottie. I'm glad you like the energy. There's a lot of energy involved in this kind of painting. It's non-stop throughout the entire process. And we've got just about under an hour left. But the entire process was non-stop pushing form, values, colors. I enter each one of these streams with a plan, but I let the painting evolve over time through a matter of feel. Through a manner of feel. And I really appreciate the super chats, everyone. Despite how hard I'm trying here with YouTube, it's a very difficult uphill battle these days. You know, and this is the kind of stuff that I want to do. These are the kind of paintings I want to make. Did I forget to post the still life? I think I did. So I will post yesterday's painting on Instagram after the stream ends. Sorry about that. Still want a little more structure up here. Yeah, we try to just put kind of more of a peaceful view to the world with these paintings. Just calm and peace. Just calm and peace. Now you see the light effect is even stronger. Now let's add some stuff to the foreground. Not too much, but just a little hint of some flowers. First off, more light right on the bottom. Try to make sure no outlines remain. We just want planes. A little nice lost edge here. Sharp edge, sharpest edge possible, done with a palette knife. Alright, so let's put some plane changes in the foreground. And that is a transparent green, useful for almost nothing. Let's use raw sienna, kind of works. Simple little planes. lighting changes in the foreground. Yeah, just trying to paint the world where everything is peaceful. The birds are out there chirping. There's not so much pollution in the air. People actually get along. Things don't cost way more than they should. An idyllic world. Kind of painting a utopia. Some people like to paint kind of like the way the world is, like very dramatic scenes of battle, blood and guts and things, and that's fine. I mean, that's got its own aesthetic, right? Like music. But it's up to you what you want to show, what you want to create is up to you. I just want a sense of peace and calm. I want to paint the world peace and calm. A world where eggs don't cost $10 a carton. Where people can actually have a livable salary. I don't know where his audience. Okay. We can speak our minds somewhat here. Like I said, I don't have a huge following on the internet anymore, so I don't think we'll get into too much trouble. I don't know. Who knows? Either way, I just try to keep it mostly about painting. Little distant planes in the background. Distant planes. Nice and easy. Now the plane's closer, we'll have more definition. So we're putting the indication of flowers. It's kind of idyllic. It's like she's about to run across a field of flowers and meet the love of her life or something. Kind of like capturing that perfect moment. Like when you met the love of your life first time you saw them and you kind of knew. Or the very first time you had your favorite flavor of ice cream. That's what I'm trying to display. A more human world. I'm glad it's not too boring. I'm trying to paint that feeling when you just found out something really nice. That moment of like, wow. That's what I'm trying to show. with this painting. And hopefully it'll represent that for everyone that sees it. People will actually feel that way. Yeah, the first kiss, that's true. The first, yeah, I could see that. I think that's about good for the environment. I don't want to do too much with the front. Sure, there'll be flowers and things if you look closely, but that's not how the human experience works. A photograph will show stuff here. Even if it blurs it out, it'll still show it. But I'm kind of just painting the idea of what it is like to see something like that. Okay, so we've got about 40 minutes left. So how about we take that time to return to the face and continue to refine it. And if we have time, we'll move to the hands and continue to refine those if we have time. If not, that's okay. I think we've gotten pretty far enough with this one. Okay, so switching to the smaller brush. Let's get a different piece of paper towel. And let's add some more form, if we can. Love at First Sight. Yeah, it's always a good title for something. I'm not very good at titling things, as you may expect. Now, as much as I like this orange, I think it's time to add some more color to it. There's plenty of help to name the paintings. But yeah, I'm okay with portrait of a woman holding a flower. I think the the visuals probably more important to me than the text. The woman in sunlight. A branch of flowers. Knowing me, I would easily put a UFO in the sky and call it the UFO. But this is a little more involved than that. Pushing more blue for that light. We'll push an off pink tan here. A little bit of pink around the cheeks, almost like a slight blush. She's blushing. No worries, Lottie. I just name it whatever comes to mind. Exactly 30 minutes left. So we're doing pretty darn good with time. I'm getting to a point now with the painting where I can, not have too many slowdowns. Where I have to slow down, stop, and think very carefully. I'm getting to a point where, I really am getting to the point throughout the entire painting process. Like, there's not too many hang-ups, I guess. There we go. Now the red on the side plane. Oh, thanks for the Venmo, Gigi. I forgot to put the Venmo in here. I do have a Venmo QR code. Thank you, Gigi, for the Venmo. I got it. Thank you for the Venmo. You know, I don't know where I put it. I had a Venmo here somewhere. There it is. So in case anybody wants to support the channel, there's my Venmo QR code. All you do is take a screenshot of it. It might help to use a bigger screen though for it. But thank you, Gigi. I had totally forgotten to put that up for the past couple videos. Well, thank you so much for that. It really does help us out so much. So in case anybody's watching and wants to help support, that was my Venmo. Let's go to the blue. Thank you everyone. It really does help so much. I wish I could take you on the plein air trip tomorrow if I go. I have a spot that I like to go to that's really nice during the week, but not so nice during the weekend, as a lot of people tend to walk around there. It's about an hour's drive from here, so I'd have to like leave super early to paint and then make it back. I wish I could take you on that. Yeah, I could paint, or I guess talk about the experience of it. I'm really excited to use this technique for plein air. Last time I did plein air was about, I want to say, a month ago, maybe. I used watercolor, but this time I want to bring my oil paints. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because the weather is going to be perfect for that. It's going to be, here's my ideal painting weather. Cloudy and between 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. My favorite plein air temperature is between 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, so I can paint in a t-shirt. And I like overcast because the light is more consistent throughout the day. I prefer that over a bright sunny day. For plein air. Now the forehead may be too blue. I really appreciate all this support, all the super chats and Venmos. Really does help, especially when the viewership is really low on YouTube. It's super low. It's probably one of the lowest lows of my entire career. So I really appreciate it. And eventually I do want to have my own, my own thing. Like my own show somewhere. So that really helps. Yeah, it is tough, Lottie. I don't know, YouTube is kind of a mystery to me these days. It's that highlight I've been trying to get for a while. The brush is not small enough. Close enough, I guess. Oh, never heard of that one, Lottie. nature videos? Music with nature videos. Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, that would be very relaxing. Music with nature videos. Push the greenish hue a little bit for the side of the mouth. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, the copyrights is a thing. I don't know how people get away with that with music. I guess they just share the revenue with their music. I don't know. Okay. A little better. Okay, now let's zoom out. Okay. We're taking the face a little bit further. I think we're pretty much there. This sleeve is bothering me. So I'll add a little bit more form to that sleeve. Oh yeah, definitely that can, problems with this copyright with music authors and stuff. That's why I don't even play music on these videos. I can't even show the copyright-free photo references anymore. The palette, the only brown we have is the raw umber. Okay, so we're gonna do our little check for outlines or any little things that we don't want to show up on the finished painting. First thing I see is a line kind of right over here. I just kind of blur it out. Now this sleeve could have a little, the other sleeve could have a little more definition. Now I feel like the final 10 minutes is a good time to look for any unwanted things, little outlines, or edges that don't work. Maybe the final 15 minutes should be devoted to that. Oh, we can only paint so fast. And this is the absolute fastest I think I can paint. I think I'll get faster in the future, more efficient. Now that elbow is a little ambiguous. Of course, Lottie. Oh good, I'm glad the flower is not too obstructive. It's always possible that the still life takes too much attention away from the painting, from the model. Nelson Shanks played around with that a lot, and I think he might have went too far with some of his still life. That's one of my only critiques with Nelson Shanks, with his compositions. Oh, thanks, Lottie. Plain there for the elbow. Color-wise, I think it can get a little warmer closer to the bottom. Yeah, like right there. Gotta be careful not to push it too much. The photographs will push these colors too strong. It will make these colors too strong. Because photographers will push the saturation on their pictures. Gotta be careful not to overdo that. So just looking for last minute little things like that. Found something. Gotcha. Outline. I'm glad you like the hair. A lot of that's palette knife. I think this would look better as a bigger print. Like a big print. Okay. Making sure there's no little lines that distract. I'll be careful not to over fluff it. The red. Okay, I'll keep the red. I don't know where the red is, but oops, I may have already taken it out. I don't know where that is. And all this stuff is just a matter of taste. Sometimes it's a matter of negligence. The elbow and the shadow. Oh, right, the red there. That's from the reflection underneath of the elbow. This is from the reflection of the sunlight. I think that's the one. Oh, I think you were talking about here. I think you were talking about here. Let's put that back in. As probably the last little adjustments. I don't see anything else that I want to adjust. Okay, maybe I do. Oh, I got it right. Okay. Yeah, I think you were talking about that. Yeah, I do got one thing. I don't want this to be that orange. It's too orange. It needs to be orange, but not that orange. Like that, I think. Something like that. Yeah, it's from the sun. Same here, right? It's the backside of the sun. Perhaps just to keep with this idea, it's a little glimpse of the rim light, and let's make it kind of yellowish, yellow greenish blue. Just a little something there. So it goes along with that story. But all right. we've got that under control. And I think it came out all right. It's okay. There's some things I could have done differently, but overall it's okay. Now here, this can soften just a little bit. That's where a light touch is important. Not very much. Not very much. Alrighty, so I think we've got it. We've got another one. We have got another one. And thank you so much for all the support. I'm going to go ahead and sign now. Feel free to ask me any questions. Like I said, tomorrow I'm contemplating going on a painting expedition because the weather's going to be perfect. And it's the middle of the week, so there won't be too many people. And Friday I have a doctor's appointment, but I don't know what time. So that means the stream might be earlier or later. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll let you know. Let's go ahead and sign this now. Wait, no, I'm not trying to ignore anyone. I'm glad you like this series. I must have missed something there. Oh, we're talking about the light on the elbow. I'm not trying to ignore anyone. I'm trying to do at least one plein air expedition every month or every 2 months. So, stay tuned to my YouTube community page in case, you know, I do go on the expedition and it's too far or something. I don't know. I'll let you know. Either way, you're gonna get a lot of live streams from this point on, so don't worry. I'll always be here. Alright, let's sign it down here. And I know the signature is almost off camera. I know it's almost off camera. Well, there you go. Well, thank you, Hansel Dog, of course. Thank you so much. And thank you all so much for your generous super chats. It really does help so much. Oh, nice. I'm glad you're able to watch this while grocery shopping. Okay, so there's the signature on the bottom right. Doesn't take away too much from the composition. Thank you for that comment about, I think somebody said this, what did someone say? Favorite of the series so far. Thank you so much, Celeste. I kind of feel the same way. This is my favorite one of the series. I'll probably get a print of this one first out of all the ones that I've done in the past, I don't know, 8 videos. I'm kind of happy with it. So yeah, it's been kind of a fun expedition. Will I film the expedition? I don't think so, because my camera setup is so unique, kind of elaborate. My camera is right above my head. See where my hand is? I don't want to mess with any of this stuff, so I would need a second camera for that. But yeah, I don't want to mess with that. Hopefully this will end up being the thumbnail. YouTube will do its own thing and let me know which thing will be the thumbnail. If not, I'll just end up changing it. No worries, Lottie, about the creativity. It's okay. It's okay. But alrighty then. Thank you all so much for watching. And again, thank you so much for the super chats. We will continue to do paintings Monday through Friday, 1:30 p.m. until 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, on days where I don't have doctor's appointments, or I may do the occasional plein air expedition. But if I do go on the plein air thing, I will take pictures of it so you can see the picture of the painting. But who knows? Anyway, again, if you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more, turn on notifications so that YouTube will notify you when I am live. So once again, thank you all, and I'll see you again on the next one.